Okay, I just had an earlier fail on Wi-Fi, so I decided to come home where I have fiber opportunity here, Wi-Fi. And the response I get on this earlier was about money. People want to talk about money. Well, I know how to talk about money. And my dad taught me how to make money. Not only himself, he recommended a book that I recommend to you. I recommend it to my kids. And guess what? It works. And it was published in 1996. So if you want to make money, you want to be a millionaire, I got some steps for you to take. And it takes a commitment. It takes a commitment to be rich. You know, and sacrifice. You got to plan. You got to get help. You got to get recommendations. And you got to work hard, especially if you're blue collar, because not everybody gets opportunities. So that's what I want to talk about today, is money. UPS got an opportunity to be millionaires. I'm talking about the Teamsters, what kind of decisions to make. The earlier, the younger you are, you got to get that right mindset. You got to get the right mindset to be a millionaire. So I'm just checking in to see if anybody wants to talk business. You know, I love talking business, and I love talking about investment, strategies, read a lot, watch the market a lot, watch the trends. You see what I'm saying? And you got to have the right mindset to be a millionaire. You don't have to go out and boast. You just, commit to it, teach your kids a budget, not to be frugal, just to be smart about investing. How do you start from zero? You never start from zero. Number one, you got to start thinking about it. That's where the mindset comes in. It's like athletics. If you want to be a baseball player, hockey player, whatever it is, guess what it takes? It takes support from your parents. It takes support from your teams. So what you need to do is, first thing you should do is go to the library. Go to the library and learn as much as you can. And there's a book out that I'm going to recommend that my father recommended to me in 1996. My father was already retired, but I know how wealthy he was, more or less, when he retired. He retired in 1990. And I was working all the time and investing since I was 21. So, but I got a lot of tips from my father. But the book is called Millionaire Next Door. Millionaire Next Door. Published in 1996 by a guy, let me look here, Thomas Stanley and his partner Bill Danko. So I think it's very important, It's very important that that's your start. You know your budget. You should live amongst your means. And that's basically what it is. Does anybody know who the millionaires, the most millionaires in the world are? Take a guess. There's top three. It's in the book, and I believe it because I'm one of them. Okay? Number one, millionaires are entrepreneurs. Number one. And what's it take to be an entrepreneur? It takes a lot. Number two, engineers. Why engineers? Engineers develop innovation and products. Okay? And that's where intellectual property comes in, and trademarks and so on, protection. And number three is going to be a hard one for you to guess. Teachers. Teachers, because they have great pensions. They have a steady payment plan, okay, like professors at colleges and so on. They make a good average income, but it's forever, and they have these fantastic benefits when they retire. You see what I mean? So retirement and pensions are very, very important, but there's very few that come out. So that's why you have to retire on your own. You have to save for your own. That's why they talk about Roth IRAs. That's why they talk about IRAs. That's why they talk about SEPs. All these things. Everything is focused on retirement for the long term and Social Security. So you have to work. You have to work. There you go, James. You know what I mean. But you know what? You're learning. You're getting that wisdom and that knowledge. And these students that are out there don't realize how much knowledge you have. You see? Okay. It's cool, James. It's cool. You know, it's really hard to talk to people on YouTube that don't take life seriously. See, I'm at that point now in my life that I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve, so I want to pass this on. Now, I have children, but they're all very successful. They're all very successful, much better than me, which I'm happy about. And they've taken my lessons, and my lessons came from my father, plus other mentors. Edward, you want a job immediately? You can get a job as fast as you can. If that's all you're looking for, it's just some type of a pay. But when you get a job, know who you're working for. Work for a company that's got at least ethics. You see what I'm saying? Ethics. It has a good brand that you're even proud to be working there. Make sure you got your benefits and so on. You have to dig into this. Just don't take any job because it's minimum wage or something like that. But you got to get to work so you can get your Social Security benefits because it all counts. You know what I mean? You don't want to be out of work. You don't want to be out of work. You want to keep going because it gets you up in the morning. It gives you opportunities because you meet other people. That's through networking. You know, networking. That's cool, James. How old is your grandfather still alive and how old was he? Is he still alive? Great. My father, I don't know if you know this, I've mentioned more than once. My father is 100. I'm 71. I got 10 brothers and sisters, and we're all alive. And we all have the same mindset about money, which is conservative. We're conservative. We save for a rainy day. We live amongst our means, but we're working every day. I have brothers that work in production. I have brothers that work in offices, and my kids are professionals because they had the education, see? But I forced them. I pushed them in education at a very young age. Yeah. Yeah, Craig, thanks. You know what I did? I was outdoors and I got to learn how to use the Wi-Fi, and I had a lot of interference. So I basically went on AI. He says, well, why am I having this interference? And it was pretty common sense. I was by trees, I was by buildings, all that shit. So I said, okay, screw it. And I decided to come back because I'm all pumped up because I think I have some new followers that want to talk about money. Finally, somebody wants to talk about money and investment. Summer job. How old are you? Edward, how old are you? Edward Snowden. Isn't Edward? Oh, okay, okay. Trolls are okay because I know they need jobs. I'm okay with trolls. Everybody knows that. Trolls wanted because they're going to learn something from me. And I appreciate them coming in because it helps my algorithm. 24-year-old. You're just getting into it, man. It's cool. The big deal is stay out of trouble. Trouble is no good. If you get in the system, if you get in, some crime, doing something stupid, getting caught with something stupid, getting at the wrong relationships and wrong friends, they could get you in trouble. You see what I'm saying? So that's the big thing is stay out of trouble. Ah, okay, cool. You guys are funny, man. Who wants to talk about money, how to make money? The bottom line is you got to work. Get up in the morning and work. And if you're married, you gotta let them know that you have a budget. And if they don't like your budget, you got to make changes, including your kids. When your kids get older, that's going to be a fight, man, because you're going to love these kids. You want them to have everything. But you have to understand there's a need and a want. You want to live with what the need is. And the want should be when you retire, you have enough money to live a great life. And I'd say younger, the better for Social Security and all that, because the bottom line is your health. But if you saved from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and your 50s or whatever it is, it's a beautiful thing. To me, Social Security was a bonus. It was a bonus. It was like, oh, it's free money, but you worked for it. But I'm 71. At least I made it. There's a lot of people that don't even make it to 62. Cool. Cool. And you know how that humbleness comes through? It comes through you. You're the role model. And then you're going to have to tell them no, right? You're going to have to tell them no. And they'll see it. And you know when they really appreciate it? When they get older. When they get older. Because they'll go, no, man, Dad was right. You see? Yes. The 401k, but then you decide what you're going to do. I don't know all the rules. That's why you need to have a tax advisor and a bank that works with you, somebody you can really trust, but somebody that's in finance and it has a license of some sort. Okay? You can't go to your brother that's not, or brother-in-law or wife that's not in that business. You see, you got to get a professional. Sometimes you have to pay. Sometimes there's services through the bank if you got money. Nah, I'll go with Raiders. Did you guys watch the Hall of Fame today? I watched Antonio Gates. I was crying all the way through. He had a very unique acceptance speech. It was not documented. He just spoke from the heart. He cried through the whole thing. But it reminded me of all the people that helped me get to what I call my own Hall of Fame. You know? It's very touching when you see these guys that are humble, like you were saying, being humble. I have 3 children, and they're all in their 40s. 100,000 cash, your own money. Don't touch it. Invest it. Damn good, right? It's right. You're only 33. Come on. But now you got to be smart. You got to compound it. There's a way you can get into a Roth. A Roth IRA is where you want to be. Okay? And you want to keep a job. Keep a job. Doesn't matter if you hate it or not, because your goal is the money, the benefits, and then you move on to the next deal. Because today's world is NFL, not for long. This is pink slip quarter. This is the quarter where people get let go, they get buyouts, they get severance pay. I got 2 family members that just got let go in the last year. And one of them got a great deal. He got severance pay. He got benefits, hospitalization and so on for a certain amount of time. And he got unemployment. And then the other contact that I have was offered a severance pay and he didn't take it because he didn't realize that 4 months later he was going to retire. You know what that is? It's pride. And when they let him go at his retirement, no party, no gifts, nothing. Not even unemployment. That's the other thing you got to think about. When you get laid off, it's not the end of the world. It's for a better chance. Make sure you get a letter. Whoever lays you off, get the letter saying you were laid off, because that's instrumental for unemployment and your next job, because then they can't condemn you for being let go. You follow me? Yep, you're right, Craig. How you doing, Mike? How you doing, buddy? Edward, you're a pretty smart guy. Hey, we're starting to get some trolls. That's good because they might bring in some friends. You know what they're doing? There's nothing else to do on a Saturday night, right? No, you're 23. Get to work, save some money. If you could live with your parents and they allow it and that you're not a problem for them and you don't have bad habits or bad friends, start a savings account, a checking account. Have goals. You know what goals are, people? I know some of you people right now are either millionaires or started very low and had ambition to be a millionaire. And isn't it something? It's not about luck. It's about a strategy and luck. You see? Thanks, Damien. I, I believe God's got me down doing this as a purpose to help people. Because my kids all took my advice and now they got their own thing and they got their own kids. So I don't want to interfere with my grandchildren and their wives or whatever. You know what I mean? Their spouses. I stay out of it. They think I'm crazy on YouTube, but I like it. I like it because I feel like I'm teaching. Oh, real estate. I've had my real estate license for, God, 20 years, but I utilize it for strictly business deals, okay? Commercial real estate and business to business, okay? Buyers and sellers. I don't do any residential. Everything is involved with a buyer and a seller of a business, and they happen to have a real estate, a commercial building or something like that. I roll that into the transaction. We call that a transaction. But no, you're starting. You know what you do at 21? You make sure you work with somebody that's legitimate, somebody that's legal, and you get an 80-20 split. You know what an 80-20 split is? An 80-20 split is when you do a deal, you get 80% of the revenue. And the house, they call it the house, the owners of your real estate agency, they get 20%. After a while, when you're really good, you go back in and say, listen, I want 90% and 10% for the house. They say no, you go on your own. But it takes time. It's like playing in the minor leagues, and you got to get in the major leagues. And that's why you need a mentor, okay? That's where I come in. You could call me anytime, rocklamana.com, email me directly, whatever. I got a lot of tools there too, free for you. Just tell me what you want. You see? These are all publications. I got all publications. And one here I want to show you about real estate. See? A buyer's checklist. You could bring that in and make that suggestion. Here's a seller's list. This is how you get a listing. A seller's check. They're going to think you're so damn smart. That's 50 years worth of doing deals, man. Okay? No, man. I can't be long gone. I feel guilty that I was shut off my Wi-Fi, so I want to help people. And I figured people are out there, but I'll make dinner a little bit less, and I don't know what happened to my baseball teams. But I appreciate the suggestion, if you care for me. Yeah, check me out. Check out my reputation. Go on Google, put my name in there, Rock LaManna, and see my background. See, I'm a legitimate force. Okay. Yeah. Newport Beach, I had some customers and good relationships when I was working with 3M. 3M was my big customer, and I would work with 3M in partnering with some of their clients. I got a really good network of professional people in the printing and the converting industry. That's my background. No, not Jake LaManna. I did see him in person, though. I did see him, and I got an autograph from him. It's not the same spelling. Oh yeah, SaaS. In a way, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm going with social media platforms because you know what? All this other stuff, my books and all this other stuff. Everybody's looking for something very. The transition of older people in their 50s and 60s, that's so difficult for them because their image is damaged because they just got let go. And if you've been 20, 30, 40 years working for a company and all of a sudden they ask you to leave because the children come in and run the business, they don't care. They think you're making too much money and they want to make them house accounts versus relationships. It's getting to be really tough to keep your relationships today, you know? No, no. I do my own deal. My business today is YouTube. YouTube and TikTok. That's my business. And I invest in myself. And I have some books out. I have some things out, but I'm just having fun doing what I'm doing, you know? And if I could teach somebody to be a rock star, what I mean by that is somebody that's a A player, you know, that's having fun, loves what they do. I was lucky because I was 21 and I found my purpose because I got an opportunity to run a business, to turn it around actually, to turn it around because the company was having problems and they asked me to turn it around and I went out and got talent. That's the other thing about making sure you pick good people to help you build a business. And at the end of the day, they didn't treat me right when they went to sell. Of course not. Of course not. So I had to do my own thing and I went on my own in 1993. Okay. All right. Everything else is okay. Everybody happy? What are you guys doing? It's 8:18 here in Florida. Are you guys just bored? Or are you waiting for my YouTube live? I like doing it because I get some unique questions, you know? I appreciate that. I know God loves me. I know that. And I love God, you know? I've been very fortunate. The channel, Nick, is a lot of different things. But the bottom line is that if I could keep it as simple as possible, is just make good choices. Make sure you pick the right horse. The only way you could pick the right horse in a relationship or a college or a business or a career is study, understand. And one of the parts that I did was I prayed to God. When I had problems and didn't know if I was going to make payroll, or if I didn't, you know, if I had a problem, how was I going to solve it? And the biggest thing was my health. I got through my health. Hey, thanks, Nick. How'd you find me, Nick? Did you just browsing or what? I kind of mentor people that are interested, and the younger the better because they're more ambitious. The older guys are more fearful right now, and I could understand that because they might have some regrets about the past or their loyalty. You know how important loyalty is, everybody? I even wrote a guide on that. Listen to this. Just go on my website, rocklamanna.com, send me an email, and I'll send it to you. It's called The Loyalty Trap. You know why I put that together? Because so many people my age were getting let go. And he got depressed. and they don't know what to do after that, because a lot of people, like my CPA told me many years ago, he says, Rock, when people retire, they don't know what else to do. And they have a really hard time, and they die young. They start drinking. They go through a divorce. They have other addictions. They spend all their money, or they didn't save any money, and their health goes to hell. My father would say, they quit. You don't want to quit on life, no matter what age you are. But everybody goes through toughness. You got to go through tough, you know? Actually, you talk about the Hall of Fame. I'm big on sports, and when I see these Hall of Fame guys go on there, they always thank their parents, their coaches, their teammates. And, it's not easy to be a Hall of Fame person or due to athletics, but you could be a Hall of Fame teammate. You can be a Hall of Fame spouse. You can be a Hall of Fame dad or mom or parents. See what I'm saying? Nick, if you're in dental, that's right up my family's alley. We got dentists in our family. Hard work, but it paid off. And they're raising their kids, by the way. Ivy League on top of it. Crunch, I'll see you, man. Okay. Well, I hope this helped. I'm trying to keep everybody, aware of what's going on. I'm watching what's happening. I'm watching my YouTube. It's still growing, and that's what I want. But it's always hard to find your audience. You don't know which way to go. Last week I had a lot of trolls. A lot of trolls disappeared because I can take a troll. But I'm trying to help other people now grow, Thanks, Crunch. Appreciate it. If there's anything you guys, want to hear more of, my goal is to probably get on every day unannounced, because to me, it's whoever's available is available, and they want to talk. I mean, it's all confidential, as you know. And so I appreciate the, what do you call those, followers and subscribers, because then you'll get notified. Hey, Rock's on. You know what I mean? How do you like that? Rock's on. Rock's live. But I'm also going to put a title in there to kind of say, okay, this is what I've been hearing. Okay? And now I feel like I'm starting to get some investors. And investors is a good thing, because, they're talking about a recession again, but, the recession's going to be what? Another year and a half? Can you get through? That's why you want to save a few bucks. And when I say save, that means you live within your means. And whatever discretionary dollars, I don't care if it's $100 a month, especially you younger guys, or younger people. No, my followers don't drink. They're intense like me. Don't you think? Weekends are for thinking, not for drinking. Hey, I like that. Weekends are for thinking, not for drinking. Drinking gets you in trouble. You know what got me in trouble? My tongue. Because I had high expectations for my kids, my employees, and so on, until I got my ass kicked by my ex-wife that left me, and it just crushed me. Because I thought I was the guy, doing all the right things. No, your dad's got something. You might have to teach him a few things. My dad still teaches me a few things, and he's 100. But I also teach him a few things. Because my mom was the humble one, my mom was the modest one, my mom was the giver. My dad was a hard-working guy. When you got 11 kids, I mean, come on. You had to be fair and tough. How you doing, Terry? Terry, what do you got? What do you want to talk about? Are these worthwhile for you people? Just coming on and just shooting up and saying hello? Uh-oh. Nuclear, right? Nuclear? Does Trump take any time off? I know he used to golf during the election process, but I can't see him golfing anymore. He's too busy and he's got everybody else working around the clock. Code red. He's not afraid to push code red, Trump. And you know what? He's got a good instincts. Yeah. Tough guy, man. Tough guy, but you know, at that level, can you imagine how those guys, and it's all about the people. It's all about the people, and we are so lucky in the United States to have protection. I mean, what's going on over in Hawaii and California, the tsunamis and stuff? I got a couple buddies in Hawaii. I should track them down. Serious stuff. No, 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 no. This was expected, but the problem is we got people that aren't drinking the Kool-Aid. And when they're not drinking the Kool-Aid, so I'm just going to go with my bet. My bet is I'm going with Trump in his economic policies. I'm going with that. And if I died tomorrow, I'm okay. I have an estate plan for my kids, and my kids are smart, and they're even more wealthy than I am, thank God. And so my wealth is going to my grandkids and my charities. I believe in charity. I believe in giving back. Okay, we need more action. The fourth turnaround. Yeah, my kids think I'm crazy. My grandparent, my grandkids think I'm really weird, but that's okay. That's okay. What the hell? When you're my age, it doesn't matter. If I was embarrassing them for the wrong reasons, that's different. But now I feel okay. I'm not in trouble. Here on a Saturday night, I'm hearing helicopters. I hope they're not looking for me. Yeah, fourth quarter. No, hold in there, man. Hold in there. We got to check out Powell. Powell's going to be interesting. You know, they're putting a lot of pressure on that dude, man. I would not be surprised if he resigns. They already got a successor. So, but you got to do what Trump says, man. He's being very cautious, but he's doing what he's proposed and he promised. We're not here to talk about politics, are we? We're here to talk about you and how you're going to excel. You got to excel. Excel as a person. Look at your age, look at your cycle, and start saving some money, man. Because I'll tell you something. I got friends that have money today through hard work, union jobs, hard working physically, and they all got money to the point where they don't worry about Social Security, pensions, and so on. But you know what their problem is? Health. Health. I have a buddy that's got diabetes, and they started with his toes, and now they took half his leg off. Fucked up, man. So, you know, everybody, my dad would say, everyone's got problems. But the issue is you got to take care of your own problems, you know? And it's decision time. And let's face it, what is it? 90% of people or more worldwide, it's worse, are either lower middle class or poor. So let's try to help each other. And not only us, we should try to help other people. Like my mother taught me, because they were both, my mother and father were very poor in Chicago, and they hit it through hard work, and they give it away. They're financial treasures because God took care of them. Because how many people can raise 11 kids and stick it out? The term was stick and stay. It's bound to pay. Stick and stay, it's bound to pay. Terry, problem, health, you got to catch it. My dad was he's at 100 for a reason. He did everything in moderation. Nobody hopes that anybody gets a disease. But I'm telling you, health is really critical. And if you have to pay to get help, do it. You see? I get it. I get it, Doc. I get it. Everybody's got a choice. Everybody's independent. You know, they talk about 62 and 65, and now it's 67 or something like that. I had full benefit at 66. I took it at 66. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was still working, thinking, I'm going to go till I'm 70. Who cares? I'm not going to spend it. You know what my dad said to me at a McDonald's drinking a senior coffee and a McMuffin? He goes, get in the system as soon as you can. And I'm like looking at him. He retired at 65, greatest generation. He's retired Social Security 35 years. He beat it. He beat it. He's still going. 4 children. I have a sister with 4 and I got a brother with 5. I had 3, but my approach was a lot different. I had it easy because I was divorced as a single parent. So my discipline was different. I could control it myself. I didn't have a spouse telling me, don't do this, don't do that. It was all over. So I feel lucky that I was single, raising my kids. Being a parent, you're the role model. The kids are counting on you. But you know what? Entitlement, forget entitlement. You know, I hear kids, I've had this on live, Rock, did you get the belt? Did you get a whipping? Yeah, yeah, I did. Not from my mother, from my father. And that's what kept us in order. We were like the military. 11 kids were like Marines. The greatest generation are badass dudes, man. I have no clue about IQ. But I will tell you this, I never thought I was smart. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. I'm the oldest guy in the room. Okay? So you know what that means? Wisdom. Wisdom. It's going good. Well, I don't think it's hopeless. I'm always optimistic about life. When I was down and out, when I couldn't make payroll, that's when you really start thinking, what a loser. And then there's times when I would think, is suicide a good way out, not to pay your bills or not to be a good dad or something like that. It was painful, man. Yeah, I could see that. My mother my mother was the gregarious one because she was at home with 11 kids. But when she started getting out, I mean, she had the kind heart, the kind heart where my dad was always about work and so on. My mother was more about taking care of the people, taking care of the people and the poor. Yeah. Thanks, Terry. I was kind of dismissing that, thinking, you know, do people, I don't look for trouble, man. I'm not looking for trouble. I'm just trying to answer what I believe in through my experience and so on. And if I could be helpful, that's what I want to do. Because when I get off, people might say, you know what, Rock gave me a good idea. Or I get it now. I can see why Rock's optimistic about life, you know? Doc, I'm not, okay, it depends. It depends if you can take it. See, I got a great combo. My dad was one badass, but he was fair. Hard work, high expectations from his kids, okay? His kids, high expectations. My mother was always the kind one and so on. She had the kind heart. And when I think about it, she lived in 94. I think at about 90, she started saying, I'm not taking this shit from your father anymore. After 70 years. And my sisters were pushing my mom to say, Ma, get a divorce at 90. It was kind of a joke in the family. And here's the other thing you have to have a lion's heart too, man. You know? Sometimes you have to make tough decisions. That's one thing I learned as a businessman. If you're in the foxhole, you got to lead. And some people you realize don't have the grit, the heart, or the ambition to get to the finish line. You know what I mean? You got to get to the finish line. It's your finish line. Whatever you want to do. Just because you might look at somebody that's he's a loser. I got 10 brothers and sisters. And I could criticize every one of them, but I don't because they just don't have what I expect, which is high expectations. But I expect it from my kids, and my kids played the game until they said, "Dad, I'm okay now. You don't have to. You don't have to what? Not criticize, but I don't need the discipline anymore." And you know what happens? I see them pass on the same parenting style as what we've had for generations. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I'm good for an old man. Can't you tell? Terry, come on, don't put me at 76. You know me better than that. I'm 71. 5 more years. I got goals for 5 years. I'll probably still be on YouTube. I got something to say. No, not 60. No, that's long gone. My kids are closer to 60 than me. I mentioned that to my kids too. I go, I'm closer to 80 or 100 than I am to you guys. You're 50. They're going to be 50 in a few years. I'm born and raised in the state of Minnesota. I'm a St. Paul, Minnesota boy, which is basically blue collar workers. Oh, thanks, Terry. Now you're funny? Oh, okay. Well, this has been fun. Thanks, Terry. Okay. Michigan. What part of Michigan? Michigan, I think Michigan, I think of Detroit. I used to go to Detroit quite a bit in my older years. I was in the automotive industry. When I think of Michigan, I think of Lee Iacocca and his Southwest Michigan. Okay. Yeah. No, I appreciate people, talking to me, you know. It's never really on course, but those are my expectations. Here's the agenda. Let's stick to it. No, nobody wants to stick to what I want to talk about, but that's okay. Davey, thank you, Davey. Oh my God. You know, I could have never made it as a politician, but I think I could work for Trump. I think he'd like me because I would get shit done until he would fire me for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm having a good night. Davey, stay on. Bring in some more of your trolls, will you? It helps my algorithm. Well, Terry. Oh, wow. Drink beer. You know what? I can't drink beer because I have celiac disease. So I got to do all the gluten-free stuff. I never got into space or, you know, science fiction. I was never into that. I was into documentaries and autobiographies and, real stories, what people did. And what was really hard is as I got older, I realized a lot of my athlete heroes were flawed, like me, and like Davy, and like Admiral Kirk. They're flawed people, you see? And when you find out they're flawed, you got to feel sorry for them. It's a sad place. So I do have hope, but you got to remember there's there's only so many people that want to be successful, you know? Actually, I am invested into Bitcoin and gold with a ETF through a legitimate bank. Yeah. And I'm going for the roll, see what happens. Just a little bit of it, just a little bit of it. Otherwise, I'm conservative, you know. I still have a career. I still um, I still have things going on. As I mentioned, YouTube is a business for me, and I like guys like Davey. Davey helps my algorithm. But I keep thinking they could get more subscribers, but they don't. They're working for somebody, which are called troll farms. These guys are just sheep, and they can't help me. Okay. I appreciate the hearts, the thumbs up. It all helps, you know? Okay, Craig, let's see here. Exactly. I'm doing another 3 years. I'm doing a transition of what they call a Roth conversion. I just sent out my email to my tax advisor for year two. Compound, just compound. I'll never spend it. It's all going to go to my grandkids and my foundation. Witness one event in history. I definitely look at Vietnam and Kissinger and the five presidents that put us into the Vietnam War. It was fucking terrible. And that's the reason why I'm so involved with Vietnam, is because in 1973, when I graduated high school, they discontinued the draft in January of 1973. I graduated in May of 73. And I didn't have to go to Vietnam like various neighborhood kids did. My brother did. People were killed. And I just think it was a disaster. Terry, you know, right? Drafted. Drafted, bad news, man. What, Army, Marines? Did the Navy? No, the Navy, Air Force, did they draft too? Did you have, was it always Army? I don't even know. Once you got drafted, you could pick the service? I'm not sure. Wow. Army. Tough way to go, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. I watched these, I just watched this documentary about the photographers on both sides. Vietnamese photographers and US photographers met 50 years later, and they compared photos, and I cried, man. It was just so sad. Just so sad. You wouldn't believe the women that and the children that fought for the North Vietnamese. Unbelievable. Yeah. I know, Terry, there was a choice, though. I think there was a choice. Why did they refuse? Terry, are you male or female? With an I would think female. Was it your physical? Um, it's at the library. I think it's titled Vietnam from Behind or something like that. Behind the lines, because it was all about the Vietnamese photographers that lived. And this guy from Time magazine got hurt. And you know what? These guys were only like 21. Unbelievable. And what they had to go through and what they saw. Okay, Terry. No. Metal jacket, Terry, is no. I don't need riddles. You guys, come on. Craig. Oh my God. I'm coming up to an hour, and I look at myself, I go, oh, okay, I got an hour, I got a few watchers. It all helps. God bless America. Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, man, what Trump does. I mean, but for what we need to do, what do I always say? Make sure you take care of yourself and your family first. Don't worry about the country. You got to worry about yourself. And the only way you're going to be good for somebody else if you're healthy. Terry, if you're healthy, you got 4 kids, you got to take care of yourself because your kids aren't going to take care of you. My kids aren't going to take care of me. And I'm not going to take care of my kids. I'm not a savior. I remember my father when my mother passed away. He was so distraught. He was in denial as if it was his fault. He thought my mother was going to outlive him. Didn't happen. And he's still living 5 years later, and he's doing pretty good. That means he realizes he's got a purpose in life. God's got him here for a certain reason. Maybe to keep his 11 kids together. We're all kind of weird. I'm good. Yeah, you mentioned you got boys or girls, Terry? Male or female? And how old are they? Are they still at home? Terry, I hope the one at home's not a troll. Promise me. Living at home. I hope it's a girl that she could watch you. You know what I mean? Boys, I don't know how good they are. I could never be a caregiver. My brother's a caregiver. My sisters are awesome. How many people know that I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota? Come on. Come on. I reside in Florida now. Craig, you're holding on, huh? Oh my God. Oh, Missouri. Okay. I hope you're not a St. Louis Cardinal fan or a Chiefs fan. 3 boys. Okay. Okay. Terry, how come you're on YouTube? What are you trying to learn? Yeah, you mentioned one at home. Craig, I was thinking about you being my monitor, but you know what? I could take care of myself. You know that. I'm just going to bypass some of these trolls. But I like trolls. You know what I mean? It's like, look at you, look at me. Who would you rather be? That's kind of an insider joke between my brothers and I. We go, look at you, look at me. Who would you rather be? I don't know who Sid is. Nah, I'm not really in politics. I'm interested in economics. One child. Okay, cool. Craig gets me, man. Craig gets me. Well, it's okay. Didn't leave. It was it's life. They move on, and that's a good thing when they leave the household. You know what I mean? Then they grow up, and then they come back and say, "Mom, what did I do wrong?" or whatever. Yeah, diploma. Hey, Drew, economics. I started this by saying, hey, you guys want to be millionaires? Be a millionaire the easy way. Get the book, Millionaire Next Door, 1996. and it still stands today. All my kids, all my friends that read the book, stayed the course, lived that roadmap, are all millionaires today. It's a lot of kids. I don't know about that, Drew. The concepts are there. Bottom line is work hard and save and live amongst your means, you know? Don't overspend. You're married, you got a spouse that's expecting you to be a millionaire before you get married or after you get married, be careful. I went through that. Craig, I know, man. I know. I think you're the last one standing. We're over 60 minutes now. I'll be back tomorrow with some other topic and let's see what happens. You know why? It helps the algorithm. That's all I'm trying to do, you know? And then we'll get on course. But one of these days we're going to break, especially with people out of work right now in this fourth quarter. It's going to be nasty, man. And people get really depressed after they lose their job after 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? The book is called Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley, written in 1996. You know who reminded me of that book? My son. He says, Dad, you remember that book, 1990? I said, yeah, of course. He goes, you gave it to me and Dan, my son, my other son. He goes, we lived that. And they were in high school. I started teaching my kids finance, you know, checkbooks and everything else. You know why? My parents never really taught us until I started working. That's when my dad started really showing me how to invest. Because I had a job. And I didn't have any kids at the time. He said, oh, you should invest in this. And he would say, here's the tip. You know, today they call them tips, a stock tip. And you just let it ride, man, for years, decades. And you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. But you got to start somewhere, even if it's tiny. Even if it's tiny. That's beautiful, Terry. That's where you want to take a picture and digitize it and save it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with crying and telling your kids you hug them and you love them. And, you know, I'm very sentimental. Very sentimental. I cry and I miss my kids. You know, I'm ready to cry now. When they were young, you know. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, everybody. Thank you. I'm sure I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll come out with another way of communicating. It'd probably have to be from my home because the Wi-Fi is better. And I got to learn how to do other things. So once again, thank you for everybody. I'll be back. And with any questions I can help you with. And don't forget, the whole series is about picking the right horse. And picking the right horse is, bottom line, just do the right thing. Because the consequence could be bad. And regret is even worse. So just try to be hopeful. And thank God you're still alive. You know what I mean? Okay, guys? All right. Love everybody. Thank you very much. I'll talk.